47% on our total valuation. So if I have a $300,000 home, last year I only paid taxes on 47% of that. Next year we're going to pay on 49%. The state changes that number. We don't have control. That's what we call rollback. None of us pay 100% on the values of our houses. We pay on whatever percent. And obviously there's a new tax bill if you follow out there. We have no idea what's going to happen if they're going to do their new property tax bill. That can change things dramatically. But under current law, that's what a rollback is. The state picking up this year 53% of our property tax. Instead of us paying 100%, they're picking up the 53%, 47. Next year it'll be almost 50-50, so 49%. So that's why we'll see a 2% increase no matter what we would do on top of whatever happened. So, but last year, if you saw on your tax bill, it actually went down 2%. So we're just going back to 2 years ago. It just, like I said, fluctuates. So, yeah. And the other one, I would just say, we don't control valuation increases either. And you know, when we get that tax notice and they say, hey, our property went up X percentage, that's done at the county level. Now.
All right. Now, thank you for explaining rollback, because that was one of the questions I had. So is there any input from the public on this topic? All right.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If the assessed value goes up, also the percentage goes up, is that really a bigger increase in the amount that we're going to be paying? Because you're valuing it on your assessed value, which is rising, you're saying 10%? And then there, is that correct?
That's the scenario they put on the sheet.
Right.
So
right.
I have no idea what if you get from what your actual, the odds are it's not, your valuation isn't going up. I don't remember what the last time, 2 years ago mine went up, and it went up a lot at my house due to factors. All of us are a little bit different when they reevaluate. But you're right in the sense is our tax rate's going to stay the same, but you're going to pay 2% more in value on your house, so your taxes or your overall tax dollar is going to go up for that. And if the county raises your valuation, you're going to go, that percent would go up too.
That's right.
But our percent will stay. Our percent is staying the same. We're not raising our percent for that.
But you will be getting more because the assessed value would be going up, if that's the scenario that we're looking at, right?
Yeah, the amount of money we get isn't determined by valuations, it's determined by our student population. So we don't raise more money in that sense.
Are you worried about what's your name? I'm sorry, Jim.
No, that's okay. I just got general questions, you know, and I'm not really concerned
No,
about
I'm glad you asked that question. Are you worried that those two factors will raise yours, the assessed value? That
I have no idea if it will yet or not. Depends. This is all pulling things out of the air, basically, right now, because there's nothing set in stone yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I just want to understand how it's going now.
Yeah, the other thing is the state has not settled school funding for next year. They're, as of last Friday, 43 days behind state law in giving us what our number would be. So our rate right now is set at if we got 2% new money from the state. That could fluctuate still because the state has not done their job yet to actually set the full state funding. And so they set up a system that to me is misleading to begin with because we're not going to have a 10% increase. And they set up a system as if we would know all this information before we had to have this meeting. But we don't have the information from them. This is the worst case. This is the highest mill rate we can have now from this point after actually our next meeting. You can't you cannot after this meeting, you can't raise your mill rate after this. We've set the highest level. It can come down, and it may come down, but this is the highest level just based off of the state laws.
Thank you for answering.
Yeah, no
my
problem.
questions. Thank you.
If you come up with more questions, you can always call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any other questions?
Joe, what was the 18.4 million net this year? No.
Yeah, 18.4.
Explain that in the 17 million last year.
So school districts generate funding to support the general fund by the number of students that you have and your cost per pupil. So that's how much money we can get in the general fund. there's a very complex school funding finance formula where that money kind of gets dropped in a bucket, so we get that money. Part of it is state aid and part of it is property taxes. The way the law is set up, the very first thing they do to fill that bucket is take $5.40 from every $1,000 assessed valuation to come up with that a dollar amount. So as school district valuations go up, we pay more in property taxes as opposed to the state paying state aid. Then they bring it up to 87.5% of that cost per pupil through state aid, and then dump more property taxes in there. So higher value district, by default of the system, is gonna pay more in property tax than state aid. So that's kind of where that big differential came in, because our property taxes went up 7%. So 7% of our dollar increase is because of an increase in valuation.
I just thought it'd be good to explain.
Yeah, I think another
It's
one,
confusing.
another
It's
way
confusing.
to think about the state. The board only really has two funds in which they can actually control and affect the amount we tax, and that's the management fund, which you talked about, our early retirement, our insurance, liability insurance. There's only a few things that can compete out of that, and then there's cash levy reserve, which we can't even put money into that because we're at the max. And so the other fund is determined, just like she said, by student count. So the big fund, the board really doesn't get to control that. There's not much they can do to either drop the mill rate or raise the mill rate, just those two funds. And then voted ones, voted Pebble, voted Pearl, those are ones all the taxpayers have already said, yes, do this. And so, yeah, it's, there's boards have very little control over now the property tax and how much we can charge, based off of the state formula, so.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. We have to do roll call vote here after.
I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, so it's been seconded, do roll call to close the public hearing. Start with Frank. Aye.
Eckhart, aye.
Kepi, aye. Dittmer, aye.
Bergfeld, aye. Lindemann, aye.
Pratt, aye. All right, now we're on to board discussion. Is there any other discussion points we want to make as a board here on this topic?
Just appreciate Jill keeping us on straight and narrow of
This-
what's going on and understanding all of that, because it is confusing for us. It really is.
And this will be a topic at the next meeting, because we have to establish the
Oh, yeah.
actual next public hearing for the budget. So there's actually 2 public hearings now by state law. It's the second year we have to do 2 of them. So where are we at the next meeting? Is that our office?
Yes. Central.
Yeah, central office. So at central office we'll do the next one, so. Yep.
All right, any other discussion? All right, I'll entertain a motion to end the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we need to do roll call for this one too, my cheat sheet says, so. Frank, we'll start with you again.
Would I?
Eckhart, aye. Kepi, aye.
Dittmer, aye.
Bergfeld, aye. Lindemann, aye.
Pratt, aye. All right, we are done with that portion, and I'll entertain another motion to adjourn the meeting here.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor of adjourning the 6 o'clock meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we're adjourned for that meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming a little earlier today to get that done. All right, we're just move right on into the next one. I guess I'll go through the motion again. All right, I call the original board meeting to order, the normal one. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion on the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Moving to second, any discussion on the agenda items for tonight? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? motion passes. Next time, I feel like we should just have this on Groundhog's Day. So, all right.
Or April Fool's Day.
Two, we missed the line, that's even better.
Close.
All right, on to comments and suggestions from citizens. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the board tonight? All right, students, if you could state your name and then also what your favorite springtime activity is. Stand up, please.
I'm Kira Bouchard. My favorite springtime activity is going on walks. I'm Emily Grays, and my favorite springtime activity is probably going on walks too. I'm Haley Holtz, and my favorite springtime activity is probably playing fetch or find out.
Glenn Brecht, favorite thing is probably work. Top monsters. I like grabbing food. Derek Nimke, getting to go outside.
I agree with you on that. All right, any of us can sign your papers at the end of the meeting tonight, so thank you very much. Maybe you should approach your teacher and say if you get any extra credit for attending 2 meetings instead of the 1.
For Mark Pratt.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of the items on the consent agenda? All right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Now on to recognition. First, we have the Lancer Pride Awards. I'll turn it over to Ms. Dittmer.
Okay, tonight we have a couple of real special individuals from the Virgil Grissom School. And we're proud to do that. It's people that in the community or the district do kind of extraordinary, wonderful things for our kiddos. Because it's all about our kiddos, right? And so things you're doing behind the scenes to make it better every day. You may think at times, what I do isn't that astronomical, but everything you do every day in our district, in our schools, is very, very important. And we value that as a school board, and so we bring to you the Lancer Pride Award. So, I'll get that. The first person, Mandy Reed, here she is. This is the principal's secretary, but you actually tell the principal what to do. I know that he counts on you deeply on everything you do down here. And you ever come down here, she's always got this smiling face, welcoming, approachable. I always see kiddos at her desk because she's more than just a secretary. She does so many things. She administers many things throughout the school. She loves people. She likes to make people happy, and it shows. She likes to boost morale. Whether it's making popcorn or making lunch for the staff. And there's so many more things, right? You love being able to greet people and give them a big smile and help make their day better. And you feel it exudes in you when you come down here. You always say hi. I think you know everybody's name, too.
I try.
Well, you do good at that. She likes to fix things, garden, help doing whatever's needed, and sub for the year in the district before applying for this position. So that was absolutely more wonderful. And I know probably the teachers love it when you do sub because you don't miss a beat with the kids. So I want to truly thank you for all you do. Here's your little certificate. Thank you. I know you'll wear that with pride. Anybody else want to say anything? Kyle, where's Kyle?
I'm right here.
What are you going to say?
I was going to say our school would not function without Mrs. Reed. She definitely holds she's the glue that holds us together and keeps us organized and anything creative or awesome like you see in the hallway or the
Yeah.
office, any design choices you see throughout the school are all because of Mandy. And so, no, I'm very appreciative to have her be that first person that people kind of see when they walk into the office and talk to and answer the phones. And you know, all the time I hear about people saying like, hey, you know, it's great to walk into the office, you know, right off the bat, and you know, she's always friendly, greeting people, and knows everybody. So we are very appreciative of Mandy Reed.
Yes, we are, Mandy.
She does a little construction too.
She does. Yes. She is she has a lot of initiative for getting projects done, and so.
Yeah.
He may have busted me remodeling the principal's office when he was in India.
Yeah, all that extra stuff, you make a difference every day. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, our next participant here and recipient, I should say, is Chelsea Stevens. Chelsea, she has 3 positions at Grissom.
Yes.
At least. Office aide, food service aide, and classroom special ed aide.
Yes.
Now, you've been in the current position since January 24, and you spend a lot of your time in the office. And like our lovely Mandy here, you do a lot of things behind the scenes that you can't even begin to say because you do so much. For her food service position, well, let me say a little bit more about this office aide. You make announcements that the 6th graders say over the intercoms in the mornings. You also make school activities signs for the Princeton Think sign. You update the bulletin boards too to help keep the school looking bright, and also assist Mandy in doing that. So you guys are a great team. Your food service position, you scan the breakfast cards, order breakfast items, order lunch every morning for the school. Then at lunchtime, you scan the lunch cards for the students as they come through the line. And you have to make sure that every student that comes through the line has the correct items, like veggies and fruits, on their plates due to the food requirements through the state. And we appreciate that, because I'm sure that's quite a challenge in itself.
Yes.
She goes to a few classrooms during the day, helps students by making sure that they're getting their IEP minutes met, and you're able to be an extra hand for those students that need extra help in the classrooms. And I'm sure, and I know, staff appreciates that from you. And you help them stay on task. So she really loves her position. She's very flexible. She likes being in the classroom as much as she can be, right? And she loves getting to know all the kids. And that's another thing you both do. You know all the kids. You know their names and their families. And that you help create a community down here for the kids to know that they have a place, that they belong. And you guys help do that. You love bringing a smile to school and helping everybody know that you're very approachable. And I'm sure you hear everything under the sun by every student, right? Probably more than you want to know. But whether it's changing the bulletin boards, making popcorn, being goofy by dressing up, and we thank you for doing that, and singing and dancing in the lobby, or just being able to help in any way that you can, you make a valuable difference. We love you for it. That's another reason we love you. So emotional, I love it. Thanks for what you do.
And again,
Kyle?
and I would just, add on to that, like all the different hats that Chelsea wears. Another one that wasn't mentioned is she's also one of our go-to subs for our classrooms
Right.
too. Chelsea has her substitute authorization, and so she's always like excited in a pinch to like jump in and be ready to, still get all her other work done somehow, but then also take over a classroom. Today she was teaching PE for us in the afternoon.
Oh my God.
And so again, just very organized, and again, just, if you've ever walked through the office, she's probably, smiling and laughing. If you've come through over Christmas time, she's dressed as an elf in the case out there. But again, just doing those things that, makes our students excited and happy to be here, cheering up staff all the time. And again, like anything great that you see that is colorful and designed and anything, probably comes from Chelsea as well too. Believe it or not, I do not have a great eye for design, so that's why I rely very much on Chelsea and Mandy. So
Sounds like those two are partners in crime.
they very much are, and
Virgil
so
Grissom is like
so
a
it's kind of like listening to an old married couple out there sometimes. Back and forth, so. But no, they complement each other very well, and again, Virgil Grissom would not be the building that we are without those two. So
Thank you both.
thank you, Chelsea, and thank you, Nancy.
Lucky kiddos down here, lucky kiddos.
And you guys don't have to stay for the whole meeting.
No, you don't have to.
We don't want to
That'd
bet
be
you
fun
like
too.
to, yeah. We usually give you a
Thanks so
second
much.
to take off. Yeah.
Well, you're thought of highly, so anybody else on the board here? All right.
I'm excited, that's very sweet.
Oh, God.
Thank you very much.
Might not
all
be
you
after you walk in people.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you, really.
Aw.
All right, moving on to the ASBO Certificate of Excellence Award, Joe.
Yeah, so Jill Van Rokel and our staff have received the Associated School Business Officials Excellence of Reporting Award again. It's the 42nd year the district has received it, so congratulations to Jill and the entire staff that helped get that done. So, good job.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Jill. All right, now on to the SEPA District Jazz Festival.
Yeah, so we had Jazz 2, Braden Van Stahl and Carson, how do you say that, Weller? Nathan Anderson, Jacob Link, Zach McMahon, Colin Meinert, Caleb Mess, and Blake Miguel for Jazz 1. And overall outstanding soloist was Zach McMahon. And so just a special congratulations to the Jazz 1. They got first place in Class 4A at the festival. And they qualify for the Iowa Jazz Championships on April 8th. So again, congratulations to all of them. And then our All-State Jazz, very similar names for that. The highest honor for high school jazz to receive, it's a 21-member ensemble selected. And we have Nathan Anderson, his third year, lead alto sax. Zach McMahon, third year, lead trombone. Blake Miguel, second year, third trumpet. And Colin Meinert, first year tenor sax alternate. So congratulations to all of them.
Thank you, Joe. Very nice to see. All right, moving on to bills. Jill?
Thank you. This evening I have $2,086,902 worth of bills presented for approval for payment. The highlights I have include a payment to Acme Electric Company for $142,174. That's for a partial payment for our current solar projects. A payment to Pearson Education for $11,533 for new carpentry, plumbing, and electrical textbooks out of the RIC. And payment to Scott Community College for $325,136, which is for fall tuition, contractual charges, and then shared positions that we have with them for all for first semester. Thank you.
I move that we pay the bills. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions for Jill on the bills? All right, all those in favor of approving the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, bills are approved. We have no committee reports tonight, and now we have Mr. Harris is going to present to us on the
Letters training, and actually I'm going to invite our instructional coach Kelly Houston and our first grade teacher Kristen Thiessen to come up and join us. They are going to talk to us about the letters training that our classroom teachers have been taking part in this year, and how it's being applied into our classrooms, as well as tied into our district-wide focus on phonics instruction. So.
Alright, here's everything we'll cover, and I'll try to condense it and give you as much information as quickly as I can. So we'll talk about what letters is, who in our building is participating, kind of the timeline of the training and application, the components of it, how we've been able to collaborate during it, and then the application that teachers have been applying in their classrooms. So LETTERS stands for Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling. I'm guessing they use spelling instead of writing because letters sounded better than Yeah, so, but essentially, teachers are learning the components of how to effectively teach reading and writing. So it's a program that the state of Iowa has selected and is offering teachers throughout the state for free. So it really provides an in-depth knowledge with that teachers can apply to any reading program. So it's not a reading program, but it's more the science and the knowledge that teachers need in order to effectively teach all of the literacy skills. This is called Scarborough's Rope, and this is something that all of the teachers in the district have seen. It really shows all the different components that are necessary in order for a student to become a skilled reader. So this is something that Letters goes over in
Every chapter.
Every chapter, they bring it up.
We do it in depth in chapter 1, and then I'm on unit 6 right now, and they revisit this every chapter and focus on the component that you are doing in that unit. So right now I'm focusing on comprehension, so it's talking about background knowledge and vocabulary and how those are important to be a skilled reader.
So you can see there are many different components, and that teaching someone to become a skilled reader is very complex and takes a lot of knowledge. So at Virgil Grissom, we have 6 of our K-5 classroom teachers enrolled in Letters. So that's all of our K-5 teachers. Our 2 reading interventionists, so our intermediate reading interventionist, and then our primary reading interventionist has just started. So she's starting volume 1 this year. And then we have 2 special education teachers. Again, one started last year and our other one started this year. And then Kyle and I are enrolled in Letters for Administrators. So it's a little different than the teacher version. We're kind of looking more at like system-wide and all of those components and how to help teachers implement in the classroom. And this is a timeline of the training and implementation. So when you enroll in Letters, it is a 2-year course. So during year 1, our teachers participate in volume 1. So that's the research behind how children learn to read. And then they get into how to teach and implement phonological awareness, phonics, and then advanced word study. And then year 2, which is what most of us are in now. Again, some are starting year 1 this year, but most of the teachers are in year 2, so they are in volume 2, so they are learning how to teach vocabulary, comprehension, and writing effectively to their students. And then Kyle and I, since we're in the administrators one, it talks about kind of taking a system-wide approach and really helping our teachers implement what they are learning. So they suggest to go with kind of like a 4-year plan. So year 3, once we have gotten through volumes 1 and 2 of Letters, then that's when teachers can really refine their routines. We can really start diving into our data analysis. We're starting that now, but we can really start seeing what our students know and what they still need to know. I'll continue to provide coaching support. Teachers can model for each other. And then we also have some teachers, our 2 special education teachers and Kyle, will be starting the Letters for Early Childhood. So it's the earlier component to what they're doing now. And then year 4 is when, you know, we don't want to put too much pressure on teachers now to like be perfect, feel like they have to be perfect and have everything right. So year 4, we can really start going into classrooms and observe them. This is through Letters. It gives you some kind of walkthrough tools. So these are the components that they suggest that you look for to see if teachers are implementing the different components effectively. So we can use those tools to gather data to see how implementation is going for teachers and just really use it as conversations on what's going well, what learning might they still need, how we can help each other to, you know, go from good to great. So Letters as a program is very comprehensive and it's a lot. So there is an online learning platform which teachers do kind of at their own pace, and they have a print manual as well, that actually two big huge spirals. So they have to read through all of that, and then the online learning platform kind of accompanies that. And then there are also face-to-face or live online sessions face-to-face with Zoom, where there's an actual instructor kind of going through the material, showing examples, and allowing them an opportunity to talk and discuss with other teachers across the state. And then on this slide, so this is the estimated time that teachers will put into the LETRS program. In total, you can see that that is a ton of extra hours that they are dedicating to become, effective teachers of reading. So there's the reading the manual, the online component. The bridge to practice is when they can actually take what they're doing and apply it in the classroom, right? So they have like a subset of students that they kind of focus on and bring back to discuss when they do the face-to-face online. So since most of our staff is involved in this program, it's allowed us to really have something to collaborate with. So many of them are involved in a coaching cycle with me. So obviously we identified that we want to, effectively teach our students to be skilled readers and to improve our reading scores. So that was kind of how we identified our goal. And then this is a huge learning experience for all of us. We're learning through the LETRS program, we're learning by talking with each other. We're learning through other professional development and kind of integrating it all together. And then, we're taking our learning, we're having those reflective conversations. Teachers, could go visit another classroom if they want to see something in action. We're continuously looking at our reading data to see, what's improving and what areas to focus on. So it's just a cycle that we keep going through these 2 years. Another collaboration we did together, so part of the administrators one was it really talked about having a comprehensive assessment plan, and we do have very thorough and assessments here at North Scott, and we have the FAST assessments that we can rely on. The only thing that we kind of wanted to agree on was to have a phonemic awareness and a phonics diagnostic assessment. So so I gathered some different ones, and we kind of looked at those as a staff and decided which ones we felt would give us the most valuable information. So we chose a couple different assessment tools, and then teachers took them, tried them out with their students, and then that allowed us to have a little bit more in-depth conversations about, where are those holes that we see and what can we do to improve that. Obviously, analyzing our school-wide data, we look at that since we are a small school. We can all get together, everybody around the table, to look at it. And we'll look at fall to winter, winter to spring, fall to spring, and compare. Hopefully, we'll continue to see growth and those reading scores improve throughout the year. And since it is kind of a 3 to 4 year model, we can look at growth over time throughout the years. And then application is really the important thing. How are teachers taking what they're learning and applying it in the classroom? These are resources that the district purchased a couple years ago now, right? 2 years we've had UFly. Yep, and then the upper grades use teaching phonics and word study. So we looked at the phonics lesson plan that LETRS suggested and kind of compared that to what we had as a district, just to make sure that, we were able to utilize our resources to the best of their ability and see if there was anything else that we needed to fill in. And really, a lot of our resources we determined were pretty effective. Oh. Yeah. Nope. Yes, okay. I do have pictures. This is from Kristen's classroom, first grade. So you can see that, she uses a lot of manipulatives and different activities for students. Do you want to explain?
Sure. So the very first slide is a student reading blending lines. Blending lines are used to practice the skill that I am teaching that week. So he is reading words that are just focused on that skill, and then in that skill is also some review towards the bottom. The next one is our whole class lesson where we're spelling words based on the phonics skill of the day. One other skill we do is we use chips and we push up sounds. So students are hearing it, seeing it, and then transferring over to writing it. One component that Letters does and some of the other resources we use is a built-in review. So here, the far left corner, the students are reviewing their letters. So reviewing the sounds. So the way we do it, that's the letter W, we say W says woof, and trying to practice those sounds. And really this year I've really focused on with my students that most sounds, like if you say W says wah, no, it really doesn't because you're tying a vowel to it. So we really tried to talk about how just the letter says its name. And then here the students are practicing reading a passage that is based on that same skill that was in the blending lines. And then Mrs. Stevens, one of her many jobs was last year she made these wonderful word building folders. So it has Velcro letters that the students can pull off, and we can change sounds with change sounds to make words. So I'd say, like if the word is, I'm not even sure what the word is right there. So say rock, rock, change the to ah. So they, and then they have to read the word. So they get to practice multi-sensory things in one setting.
And you have the next slide of video of that. That one I did get access to. Wasn't built back.
And Claire, what's our new word? Unchange it. So then also they are able to go up to the board and change on the screen so everybody can see the word. So I just pull sticks and they change it. It's a game. They love it. They could do it for probably 30 minutes if they wanted to. Very good.
They did that for you guys.
Love that word. Love that word.
Whisper, read that word to yourself. Whisper, read that word to yourself. Gemma. Look next to mom. Say it again. Go change it quick. Ooh, okay. She's gonna change that ending sound. Very good. Now we are going to change. We are going to change the or to r. Change the or to r. So this time we were working on R controlled vowels. So there, Mandy made the term. Answer what's the word?
Shake my head at her and then she goes.
The tiles have the R controlled vowels together, so they're picking the AR and changing it from the OR. Let's change let's change the R to act. Change the R to act. Change the R to act. Whisper, read that word to yourself. Scarlett. Okay, go change it. Just change it to the that's change the
Word after word. Sound walls is something else that Letters really encourages, and UFly, our resource, has pictures of the mouth as well, but it's so that students can really see like what shape their mouth should be making when making that sound. So it's not just like a word wall, like this word begins with this letter, but this word begins with this sound. This is what your mouth should be doing. This is where your tongue should be when making that sound. And I know some classrooms, or in the special education classrooms, they'll have mirrors for kids so that the kids can watch themselves in the mirror to make sure that their mouth is in the right position to really make that sound. And then vocabulary instruction is also something else that this is what a lot of the teachers are kind of focusing on now, vocabulary and then comprehension. So I put together a planner for them that they could use to make sure that they had all of the components of effective vocabulary instruction. And then on the next slide, Andrea, our 4th grade teacher, She talked about how she felt really good about her vocabulary routine, and then after completing the vocabulary unit and letters, she just had to add a few things into her routine that she was already doing. So she, just by making a few small tweaks to her instruction, like this was something she could implement right away. So what's in bold there are the things that she added based on what letters suggested would really help kind of solidify the vocabulary in students' minds. So some are big shifts, but some are just very small shifts that teachers could make to be more effective.
Thank you. Anybody I have a couple of questions, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Does anybody else have any questions?
Go ahead first.
So I'm always trying to think through, like, there's a process to teach. What do we do with new teachers that come in, and how do we get them up to speed on this?
It's a good question.
Could I jump in?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think with us being provided the U-Fly curriculum, and that has helped me gain a better understanding. I mean, I'm a veteran teacher. I've got 20 years. When I was introduced to that, it helped me from all the things I was piecemealing together to put it into a systematic thing. That, it's built-in routine, built-in, do I still have to pull things? Yes, but it gives us a very structured routine to what we have to do.
The state of Iowa is on its 6th cohort where they're paying for it. The training's fairly expensive too, but they've also, at the university level, they now have a required test to take. They don't have to pass it. That really aligns with letters too. That all elementary teachers. So what they're doing is implementing, making sure they're being trained in college, so we don't have to train them when they get out on this. So
Yeah, because I think they were finding that at the college and university level, teachers were not getting the training that they needed to effectively teach reading, especially kindergarten, first grade, second grade. So hopefully that will cause a shift at the college and university level so that they'll start receiving that training before.
And we have teachers at all buildings, not just here.
Yeah.
But I would say as we are evaluating the new state standards, this knowledge base is part of that and will help determine whether it's a curriculum or resources that we need that would answer that question.
So which kind of ties into my second question. So it's K through 5, and it's a 4-year program. So how are we getting our kiddos the most impact on this if it takes 4 years for a
So
teacher to
letters
get trained on
is
this?
not a program. So letters is the teaching and the philosophy of the best practices to teach reading for teachers. So what I'm learning in letters, I'm learning stuff that it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, why is there a U after the G or before the G in guilt? Well, because if it was a GI, that G would say ja. So it's just solidifying what I'm bringing into my students for the practice. So 4 years, yes, I'm doing 2 years of training, but that training that I'm doing is going to be carried over for multiple years in my classroom.
Okay.
And they learn it in small chunks, so as they learn
And then
about
implement it right then.
phonics, then they can start implementing that right away.
So with all of that, how's this transitioning? I know you showed us some graphs on their scores. I couldn't really make, how is what you're doing with letters, how does that compare to previously with, are we getting our bang for the buck here with the investment we're making?
This was training
Student
I've never
scores.
had. So as a veteran teacher, when I went to college, we didn't receive this training. So this is training that, as now being 20-some years into education, I'm getting training that I've never had before. Is it stuff I've learned and stuff I'm implementing by learning on my own? Yes. So it's a lot of it is just solidifying what I've learned. But it's training that I've never had. The vocabulary instruction, I learned that like in January. I've implemented it right now in my classroom. Every day I'm doing vocabulary.
Our investment really was, the teachers are doing this outside of contract time. We did do a stipend last year, and I don't know if we're doing one this year or not. I haven't heard of TQ. Are we doing it again? So
Yeah, every teacher who does it gets
$600 stipend,
For
that's
that
it.
150
You saw the number of
hours.
Yeah, it's a
hours.
lot
I
of
mean,
hours.
it's basically a token of saying thank you. It's a token. It's not, we're not paying the hours, and it's a lot of time that they've invested. Our teachers have invested.
What's been your feedback from the teachers that are in the program? What do they tell you?
They know that it's a lot of work and it's a time commitment, but they are very thankful for this opportunity that, Iowa is allowing them to do it for free. They think it's a wealth of knowledge that some of them have never heard before, especially our upper grade teachers. Just having that knowledge of, even though they might not teach, phonics like Kristen does, they still have students that have some of those gaps and holes. So now they feel better equipped to be able to intervene with those students. And yeah, they think it's a lot of knowledge, like Kristen said, that they did not get at the college level, and that they've been able to implement in their classroom. So.
Well, the passion you guys have, all of you. Thank you for that. You can tell, and you're making it fun and eventful and learning. And thanks for all your tools that you're creating. That's above and beyond, I know, but you're customizing it for your building and your kids, and you should share it to the other schools. Maybe you are, but thanks for doing that. Like, I was thinking that general phonics lesson plan, is that even something you created?
So that was Letters suggested it. So then I just put it as a template for them. And then just kind of matched it up with what we have created at the district level to make sure that all of the components are represented. And they are the vocabulary one. Letters didn't give a template for that, so I took what I've had in the previous and added some of their components to it as well. So.
Good tell. Thank you. It's excellent.
Any other questions?
Can I say a quick something? Is that okay? I don't know if I
think
can.
you can.
Is that okay? I'm sorry. I have a kiddo that's in Kristen's class, and just reading with him, and he can like choose different things, and he'll be like, "Hey, Mom, if this had this letter in it, it would say this." So as a parent, I'm seeing him do those at home as well, where he's able to decode those words. So for him being 7, like, he's doing so much more already, I feel like, and I just love that I can see all the work that Kristen does. I can see it personally in my own child. So I think that's neat that he's able to use that at home.
Great.
Sorry.
No,
I know. I thought that was him in the
Your
video.
staff.
That was
Kristen, in your years of teaching, reading, and so forth, and now that you've got this new program, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you feel that your kids are grasping reading more or easier now than they did
They have
5
many
years
more.
ago? I'll put it that way.
Yeah, they have many more tools to decode a word.
Okay.
So even like, first grade, we have a range from kids that don't read to kids that are reading chapter books, complex chapter books. So even those kids that are reading the complex chapter books, they come to a word they don't know, they now have the skills to decode those words. So a lot of times they would just previously breeze past those words, but now they're getting in, oh, I see this part, I see this part. Yeah, just knowing different rules, did you know that, they know this, they can even repeat the rule to me, why they have to use that skill to decode.
Do we have any extra time for struggling readers? Do they have something special for them then? And I know we have a reading specialist and so forth, so those kids would go to that person to get the additional help.
Correct.
Okay.
And then Kristen does small groups as well, so she works with them, so they're getting.
So like each group is getting a different skill. My on-grade level groups this week are practicing, we're doing long E sounds. So they're practicing the skill of long E. My lower group, we're still working on blends and short vowel sounds. So just differentiating that way.
And one of the things that they've also been working on, and Kelly had mentioned it, is having a more common diagnostic tool so that what those students are working on is really kind of fine-tuned to fit them.
Targets what they need. And we're hoping to see at the upper grades, once they get to 3rd, 4th, 5th, that they've had this instruction, that there aren't as many holes or gaps to fill in.
Have you done the classroom observation tool yet? Probably not. No. Well, I mean, I'm not putting you on the spot.
Mrs. Houston is in the first grade classroom a lot.
Right.
Because the first grade classroom is a large class, so she pushes in a lot. So she sees on the fly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And probably has done a lot of those observations right there.
I'm sure of it. I just thought it's been that
Not
long.
officially. I haven't come in with my clipboard yet or
Okay.
anything. I don't want to scare anybody.
I
out,
know,
you know.
I know.
Like we're all still
You know what to
learning
look
and-
for.
Yeah.
Good job, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
What grades are, what grades is this in across the buildings?
It's primarily reserved for K-5. They did open it up to coaches and administrators and reading interventionists and special ed teachers in upper grades, just because it's not a program for students, it's a program for teacher learning. And so they wanted to focus the learning on teachers who were teaching those foundational reading skills, which is primarily our younger grade. Our teachers who teach younger grades, and again, like I said, special ed and interventionists.
So here, K through 5 is doing it,
Yep. Every classroom teacher, K-5.
and then is that the same in all the schools?
It's not everyone. We have 40 teachers registered across the district, and then there's 9 who are in an administrative program, and then so that's 3 of our principals, myself, Heather Schultz, our Director of Student Services, and then a couple of our instructional coaches are taking the administrative track.
Can you comment a little bit on what, does all of the elementaries at least have somebody or some grade going through this?
They do, yeah. I'd have to look a little closer to see exactly how many in each building, but yeah, everyone's got some in their buildings.
Okay,
Yep.
K through 5, or some are just doing certain grades?
K-5, and then junior high has some special ed and something, I can't remember if it's their special ed or if it's their reading interventionist, but there are some in our upper buildings. And some of our high school coaches, instructional coaches are also taking the training.
So, sorry, when I was a K, like you have them in every grade at every elementary school? Or is like, at one of the schools it's only 3 through 5, or you have somebody at every level?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look and.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have the dashboard, so I can look real quick, yeah.
Anything else?
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you very much.
Excellent.
Right, 40 teachers is just slightly over 50%, more like 55% of our teachers are either being trained or have been trained.
Yeah, and
That's what
Molly.
the percent is.
And it was voluntary, teachers could choose to sign up those that wanted to.
And some may have a master's in reading, where they may have already had the training, right? These are ones just going through the state's cohorts.
Right, yeah, and cohort 6 is open, and so I'll send out another email to any teachers who want us to sign up for cohort 6.
But the expectation is that all teachers reading K through 5 would be using this strategy, this
They're just learning about it right now, so that there isn't an expectation necessarily they all do it because they haven't all had the training.
Right, I mean, is that our long term, is that our shorter term, is that the goal in the next couple of years? Is that
It really depends on what our next steps are with our reading resource and which direction we go and what kind of training will support that.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that the knowledge base they have is also being applied to as our ELA group is studying the new state standards, and next year we'll choose are we going to pilot, and how does that pair with this? Does the series, if we do a series, what does it have built in, and is it similar? So that's how we would build that in.
So did you have other tools, like you say I just, when you're talking through this, like my kids had the letter factory, like the leapfrog letter factory video, that's kind of what you're doing in the classroom there. Did you have a different way of teaching that, the GO versus GU sounds differently? How did you do that in the past?
I would say when I first started at North Scott, I did word families. So we would teach this week we have the ACT word family, and every word I taught was the ACT family, and then I'd move up to the ACT family and then progress that way just by word families. But now it's more, I teach if I'm thinking back at the beginning, I'm teaching the ACT sound, then I'm doing every word that could possibly have the ACT sound that's a consonant, vowel, consonant word, and going through that. And then in UFly, they have built in what we call high frequency words, those words that aren't usually highly decodable in text. So we teach those. The district has a separate list, so I teach those on top of the U-Fly list. So that builds that. So before it was like word families, and there wasn't it was hodgepodge, what I want. It wasn't a like systematic thing like I would say U-Fly is.
And I feel like being in Kristen's classroom, like she really talks about kind of like where
Your mouth
words,
is.
yes, what your mouth should be doing, what if it's like a voice or an unvoice, you know, like where the origin came from, gets more into the rules of it, and even a component, you probably didn't see it on the phonics lesson plan, was to talk about word meaning. So don't just like teach words in isolation and go through like pork, but if it's a word that you think students might not be familiar with, then to share what it could mean or use it in a sentence. And I have some examples of Kristen doing that as well. So even though it's just the word up there, she talks about, you know, herd, spell the word herd. Now this is like a herd of cattle or a herd of sheep, a group of animals. So just really incorporating that. I think she's become more aware. She probably does it without even noticing now, but.
Well, we had the word swill today, and everybody's like, well, what's that mean? And I'm like, I don't know, let's ask Google, because I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
So just being like more word aware, I feel like.
Thanks for taking the time and spending the extra time and continuing to improve, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. All right, no old business for tonight. We have some items on under new business. Our first one up is the student homes, and we have Mr. Winterbrink who's going to tell a couple things to us.
Happy to see the board again. Our first quote we got here is from Zeglin for all of our appliances that will be going into our student home in Long Grove. We got a quote from Zeglin's for $4,595 with a $600 discount. That puts our total at $3,995. We did get another quote from Grand Appliance. It was a little less, but we compared the models of the appliances and they were a step below of where that was. So that is why you're going to notate that price difference. We talked to the realtor about the style of appliances that was best to put in our price point for the home, and she felt like the black touch-free appliances was our best choice on that. So we got the Zeglin's quote right there. In addition, we got gutters for our new student home, and that includes the installation and having our students put those in. Our quote on that was $1,239.15. We got a 10% discount on that, $112.65 for a total of $1,126.50. Just had really good results with this contractor from last year, and we did email and personally contacted quite a few different gutter contractors, and this was our quote we got, but I did personally call and reach out to those other gutter companies. So I'd be happy to update you. It's been a while to give an update on the student home, but the good news on that is we have our Ed White house that has gone on the market this week, so we're happy to get that up. Our realtor was very confident we get multiple offers and hopefully a full price for that. Our student home in Long Grove is progressing really nicely. We expect that to be right on track with what we've done in the previous years, which is our our student home celebration in May and kind of finishing that up. And that listing was also done for the Long Grove house also. So we're making really good headway. Our students are doing a wonderful job. Scholarships were due today. I made a lot of, received a lot of applications for our scholarships. We'll be meeting in April and handing those out again. So really good progress. We had a meeting last week. Our businesses were super appreciative of everybody supporting this room. Feel like we have a really great, strong student built home program, and we're doing great things to get our kids ready for the skilled trade. So I'd welcome any questions if anybody has anything too.
So you'll have the scholarship night. We can join that. Will you have it at the house, the new house, when you give out your scholarships?
When we hand it out, yes. So we will do the celebration. I'll personally give out invitations to everybody here, so everybody can join in that celebration too, just as we've done in the years past.
Great.
That's great. Thanks, David, for all your work.
No problem.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on item A.
Make a motion to approve the student built home appliance bid from Zeglin's.
Second.
Been motion and seconded. Any discussion on that particular one? All right, all those in favor of approving item A, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item B, I'll entertain a motion on that.
Make a motion to approve the new look construction for the gutters for the student level.
Second. It's been motion and seconded. Any discussion or questions for Mr. Williambrink on this one?
Students actually put those up, right?
The gutters,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they help to install those.
Oh,
yeah.
that's it, okay,
We'll make sure.
sorry. I was ready to go first.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We had a motion and a second, so.
That's
it's
just
up to you.
covered my mind.
It's okay.
Any other discussion on this one? All right, all those in favor of approving item B, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Right, motion passes. Now on to the 25-26 school district budget. Jill?
Thank you. This evening in the packet, you will see a proposed public hearing for the next board meeting and then next year's budget and worksheet. For those listening, we did have a finance work session with the board, I think March 3rd or so, to go over the budget in detail. Just to summarize it though, the attached budget is at $2.25 or 2.25% SSA compared to 2%. That's the difference between the House and the Senate. The 225 gives us a slightly higher tax rate. So if it would be lower than that, obviously what will actually be assessed will be a little bit less. It's only about a penny difference though. So the budget is at $11.81 per assessed valuation. The district-wide revenues total $57.3 million, while the district-wide expenditures total $59.8 million. The reason for the expenditures being greater than the revenues really is still just spending down the bond money and wrapping up projects. They'll roll into the year, next year a little bit. But this evening I'm asking for board approval to go ahead and publish the budget summary and set a public hearing date for April 14th, 2025.
I thought our next meeting was the 7th.
Yeah, but this one's for the second.
Oh, so we'll
one.
have another an additional meeting on the 14th.
So no, this
The
should be-
first Monday of the
Oh,
month
no.
is the 7th, the second
It
Monday
is the
of the month is
14th.
the
It was
14th.
published wrong.
The board
The
meeting.
board meeting's the second and fourth. It is
Okay.
that, yes, yeah, but on our
Alright.
calendar was wrong. You did
Yeah,
have it
that's
at the
what I had it,
seventh,
okay.
and we got that changed.
14th is correct though, right?
14th
That's
is
what-
correct,
it's
yeah.
one of the things for- okay.
Make a motion to publish the proposed budget and set the public hearing date of April 14th.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All right, all those, any other discussion on setting the public hearing date for the 14th? You have to change my calendar because I was tracking the 7th as well.
Yeah.
But there is a meeting on the seventh for facilities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm like, I knew that
So I
was
don't wanna
familiar.
confuse everybody.
Before I
We do
start
have
changing things, I'll just
we
look
have
at
a
my calendar
facility
right now.
meeting next week that's just facilities
Okay,
and that, and then we have a regular board meeting on the 14th, so.
Gotcha.
So you will be here on the seventh, or be at my office on the seventh too.
Okay. So I'm not crazy.
It's a work session.
All right, thank you. All right. All those in favor of setting the public hearing date of April 14th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, now on to change orders.
All right, so these are the metal labs. Over half of these they don't really cost us. They're just going back and forth. But I did talk to Bill today. Say, are we done? Because these kind of came out of the blue. It is finalizing it, and part of it was the delay with the electricity. But so I'll just go through each one of them. On D, it's just an exchange on painting conduit that got put in late. E was the wiring. There was other wiring needed for the dust collector, so that is our charge. Then we also had temp power. When we were waiting for those components that could not ship, we went ahead and authorized temporary power so we could teach the classes. That was for F. G was not ours. That's the paint issue again. H was not ours. That's H was ours, painted for requiring the new airline. We had to add an airline in for that dust collector. And then I is not ours. It was an exchange on the paint. J is the actual airline. So one was painting the airline, the other one was adding the airline, and that was J. K is not ours. That's paint. And these, Bill said, this finishes out the metals lab.
I hope so.
Make a motion to approve item D, metals lab change order to Rock River Electric.
Second.
So motion second, any discussion on any of the items of the change orders that we have here? We'll just get all done now. All right, all those in favor of approving item D, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item E.
Make a motion to approve item E, change order to Rock River Electric.
Second.
So motion seconded, all those in favor of approving item E, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item F.
Make a motion to approve item F, change order 6 to Rock River Electric.
Second.
Don't all jump at once. All right, it's been motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving item F, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item G.
Make a motion to approve item G, change order 2 to River Valley Construction.
Second.
So motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving item G, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item H.
Make a motion to approve item H to change order 3 to River Valley Construction.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving of item H, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item I.
Make a motion to approve item I, change order 4 to River Valley Construction.
Second.
All right, it's been motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving item I, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item J.
Make a motion to approve items J, change order 2 to Reagan Mechanical.
Second.
So motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving item J, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item K.
Make a motion to approve item K, change order 3 to Reagan Mechanical.
Second.
So motion and seconded. All those in favor of approving item K, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Now on to the Steubenville home land purchase.
Yeah,
Joe?
so we had actually a really good meeting of the construction committee the other day, because we got their feedback on the potential development and the design and how many homes we should have and the quadplexes. I know Mark was there. Joni, you weren't there on that one. But anyway, it was a really good meeting. One of the things that we got feedback on was we have to, on the construction, first of all, we gotta get the agreement done, then we will have to bid out the actual land work, putting in the road and stuff, and at that point, there's no guarantee we can get all that done and be able to build. And we do have the offer on the lot, right next to the house we're currently building, in which the group felt, and especially our realtor said, we're gonna sell this house, and if we build one next to it, we'll sell it too. And so, since we can get that price at $75,000, we're recommending purchasing the lot right next to the current student-built home we're building in Long Grove, and go ahead and buy that lot. And then, even if we were done in time, it just gives us, whether we get 4 years or 6 years when we do that final design with you guys, it just extends having our own development to build for a while too. So, the recommendation is to purchase the lot in Long Grove for $75,000.
Make a motion to approve this, it's Long Grove lot, right, correct?
Yeah.
For next year for the student-built home.
Second.
It's been motion seconded. Any discussion on this one?
Does the realtor get information on that?
Ours does not.
No,
She
I know.
donates her time,
I was
and
just
our
making sure.
lawyers don't charge
Right.
us any legal fees when we purchase or sell any of those properties.
I just wanted to mention.
Yeah,
And
thank
does
you.
that
Yes,
money
Tricia
come out
does
of
not
our
charge us.
home builders
This is
fund?
all part of the home builders.
Okay.
Yeah, even the 75 will come to them. Now, we have 2 houses we need to sell to have cash in there,
Right.
so,
Right.
we need to get these homes sold.
Jill's a little nervous right
Yeah, Jill's,
That'll be-
well, it'll be fine, but.
Deal with the student-built home, right, that we were selling as part of this, what are we selling with that?
It's listed for $299.
Is it $299?
Yeah,
I thought she said
The church
I
one.
the
just-
church
yes.
one, it's $299. Yeah, I was thinking she was gonna do $289 because we've had it for so long, but $299. And she really felt that there's a good chance not only we may even get an offer higher than that.
It's a great location.
She didn't feel like it would be an issue, and like I said, it was a great meeting, and I'll be bringing to you guys the development and what that looks like, and then we'll have choices to make, and then really how much do we want to invest versus having the private partner invest, so. But that'll be coming up.
And I'm sorry, when is the Fifth Street one going up on the market?
It's on,
already
it
on.
is. We had the sewer, we had to clean out, so we had it on the market, took it off the market, now we got that fixed, it's back on the market.
And that's one that's $2.99.
Two ninety-nine, correct, the split boiler. Yep.
Any other discussion questions?
Nice homes, you're in the market.
Yep. I agree. All those in favor of approving the land purchase for next year's studio home, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Then on to superintendent's report. Now, I did see, before we get into that, I think we had a couple of students sneak in at the back over here.
Yeah, it's
So-
6:30, you can't blame them on
I
this
know,
one,
I
so.
know.
Oh, no,
But
that's
if
not
you-
a kid at 6:32.
So if you could state your name and your favorite springtime activity.
Been on his phone.
What did we just talk about?
State your name and your favorite springtime activity.
My name is Austin Reed, and my favorite springtime activities working around the house with my family.
Perfect. Thank you.
My name is Emily Studding, and my favorite springtime activity, maybe like reading outside.
Did you track? Or any
Thank
of you
you.
guys in the student?
Oh, I
hall
quit
gonna
track.
be- Get out of it. No, I'm kidding.
Do you do track, Emily?
I quit.
Okay. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay.
All
I'm just in
right.
the paper for it.
Superintendent's
know.
report. Thank you.
All right, so, the enrollment report's in there, but I do wanna mention, we're working through the open enrollment. We've gotten through all the secondary, we've gotten through all the, almost all the internals, and, a number of the, kindergartners who fit were, because of siblings, things like that. What we're really working on now is we have another, today I think it went up another one, 14 more kindergartners who all want Ed White, but Ed White would be full. And so trying to figure out what to do about that. And kindergarten has until September 1 to apply for open enrollment. And so we're working through the number of sections. Right now, we're at 10 sections in kindergarten. We have room at Allen Shepherd, and we have room at Neil Armstrong that could absorb, and we have room at our 2 outlining ones. And we do have enough spaces for those, but we could fill up fairly quickly. And it looks like we'll have a full 5K too for next year. And so the numbers look really good, very comparable, depending on how many more open enrollments. But there were 27. Well, now it'd be 29 external open enrollments for kindergarten. And so our enrollment, right now, our list has 10 or 11 going out and 60-some kids coming in. So, we will conceivably have even a gap grow again on open enrollment. I would also mention it's besides TSS money, it's the largest new money we have for next year's to open enrollment, paper samples. So still working through that. You'll hear more about that. A legislative update, no SSA, and I would say this week the odds of SSA and school funding we talked about is almost 0 because it's the last week of funding. And they need to get any bill through the House, through either House and through the committee of the next House in order to stay alive. So it would shock me, it'll be next week before school funding is brought up. The property tax bill, Jill has analyzed it. It makes us really nervous the way it's currently written. To me, it isn't gonna save in property tax for the owners. It could potentially be a huge property tax increase because like we were talking about the rollback. If the rollback goes away 100%, so if you have a $300,000 home and they're gonna make you pay on $300,000 minus a $25,000, you're now paying on $275 when you were only paying on $150. That seems like a tax increase. And so we gotta wait and see. I think they got a lot of work to do on it. We've heard that potentially it won't make it through this session. They've started to talk this session. They'll finish it next session. But the way it currently looks, and it's hard to tell, it does not look like a property tax decrease for homeowners.
And you're right, there are levy adjustments, but I don't feel like the swing in that is as great as the other.
Well, if you think about it, something I heard years ago was if you have a $500,000 house you're paying, you get a $250,000 tax break, right? But if you have a $150,000 house, you're only getting $75,000 tax break. So depends on how they do it, I guess. I mean, some might say everybody's paying on the actual, value of your house instead of getting a certain.
Yeah, our mill rate would have to drop dramatically to be less than what you're currently. That's the hard part we have. Yes, we assume our mill rate drops because our valuations are going to expand dramatically, meaning you're going to pay less because we're collecting it on a higher dollar amount. But is it gonna offset the actual now that you're paying on that? We just don't know. It's a complicated bill. But it's something for us to keep our eye on for that. Stadium bids are going out this week. Leggett is putting them out, so I got an email here because I asked for an update on where that is at. They have Allied Construction providing for the 3 additional drywall layers that are needed in the roof. They have Continental and Tri-City for the sprinkler system, and they have to run another water line because our current water line's not big enough and have enough pressure to do that, so that'll be an expense to them to do that. Dan's overhead doors, and I don't understand this, but the roll-up doors have to be 90-minute fireproof rated now, so they're gonna change those out. And American, they have to tag a few doors too, and then there's some dampers that have to be fire rated. So they're gonna, hopefully by the end of this week, get those contracts in, and then they'll work with Jason and Scott to get the work scheduled to go. So that's kind of where we're at with that one.
Any idea of the end of that? I mean, do they give an estimate of when they think they can have that done?
No.
I mean, I know it depends on the bids and.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they put on.
The sprinkler system would be the longest one because whoever gets hired has to go through the state to get approval on that sprinkler system too. They don't just get all of a sudden install one. They have to design it, send it to the state, get approval, then put it in. So I'm assuming that's gonna be summer. Yeah, that's go through the state again. Yeah. They said that you need one, now you have to design one, and the sprinkler companies design them, and then they get approval from the state, then they can install them.
But you already need to design one to get approved by the state.
Well, this is our paper.
And what won't we be able, we won't be able to use the concession stand without.
We're
fire?
using the facility, yeah.
Or what won't we be able to use until it's done, or provisions do we have to?
You know, the state really didn't say anything, they gave us permission, so
Well,
we're
you
just
just-
using the facility. Yeah. Snow day makeup, right now, my recommendation or what we're gonna do is not make up the 2 student days. That we still have 1,083 hours, so we wouldn't make up the student days. On Wednesday, we're gonna finalize the plan for our staff. Haven't finalized it, but here's what the vision that we would have is on Thursday, potentially do a district-wide meeting, so our hourly people should still come back on Thursday, get that 1 day there. And then we have an opportunity to recognize the 10-year, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, do that now and do the retirees now. So then we don't have to do it at the beginning, that saves probably over an hour. And then teachers would do a day and a half, the other half, they would do all their online trainings instead of doing them in person. That'll save another 2.5 hours, especially when you think about the amount of work we have to do with the new math curriculum, ELA standards, we could use that time for that. More than likely, we'd have 4 hours. We hope whatever company we pick, I think they've all said they could do it. Whatever company we pick for our new math series would be able to come in and already do 4 hours of training in June. And so that would be 4 of the hours of training. We'd do some district stuff, there would be some other PD stuff that would happen. We're gonna work out those details. But right now, the student day would still be Wednesday. Hourly staff would still come in on Thursday. Part of negotiations may take care of the other hours for the hourly staff. And then on Friday, it'd be a half a day for teachers more than likely. So barring a winter storm, right? We would do it, we would not go into the next week no matter what. I mean, I don't wanna jinx us and the next thing you know, we have a blizzard and we're out for 5 days. Obviously, all things change, but that's the current plan.
It's Iowa,
It's
it's
tough.
the next day.
Yeah, it would be, so we should be good. So I just wanted to update everyone on that, get it out public, and then by the end of the week, hopefully we get it out to all staff too. Here's what we're gonna be doing.
So are we gonna send a blast out? Because I know a lot of us have been
Yep.
receiving questions.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do a video on Thursday to go to parents. Yep.
And as far as the math curriculum goes, are we on the second one that we picked to do?
They just got trained, so they're just starting the second training.
We were at the rec
For the strategic,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
or for, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Next Monday, I had it on here to remind you, it's a facility committee meeting next Monday. And so we'll have an agenda. A lot of it will be, I'll go over and update some more, then a little bit more in depth on where we're at with Vision 2025, property purchase, that kind of stuff. But we really want to focus next Monday on what's our next vision look like, on the money that we have, not borrowing money, but what are those big projects we need to start planning for. So we'll spend time doing that next Monday.
Thank you, Joe.
And that's all I have tonight.
Any other questions for Joe? All right, on to board comments, correspondence. Before I get into sharing the table here, I just want to, since it happened over spring break, Glenn Kempe passed away, and I know he touched a lot of our lives here on the board here. And a lot of people in North Scott, in fact, I was out eating lunch and just sharing stories. Like, I never heard that about Glenn before. I'm like, yes, I finally got one up on the native North Scott person. So anyway, I just want to send my condolences to you, Carrie, your family, and everybody. Glenn was an amazing guy, and I just got to know him for a brief while, but it was sad to see him go, but also kind of like you said too, just a blessing. But he touched many, many lives, and I thank you and his family for sharing his time, because he was a great guy. So,
Made a big difference.
1 in a million,
yeah.
Everything he touched.
Oh, did okay.
Yeah, he did.
So, sorry. Is there
Yeah,
anything else?
I had the pleasure of going to the National School Board Convention down in Atlanta a week ago. It was very educational. I will tell you right now, Iowa is doing very, very good compared to other states. Some states you just kind of shake your head and think, holy cow, what are they doing? Iowa did present their lighthouse study, and that went over extremely well. In fact, when I was riding the elevator down, I was talking to a gal from North Carolina, and many of you know Tammy Drawbaugh, who's one of the board development people from ISB. She basically said, we got to hire her, and I just looked at her and said, well, that ain't going to happen. But she said that was the best session that she had ever been to, and they've already been asked to do that presentation at the Indiana State Association next year. They had some great speakers. Got to listen to Dr. Bernice King and Layla Ali. Really very good speakers. Both had great points to make about education. Their entertainment, I thought it was interesting. They had a jazz band there from Atlanta. Their singer looked like a tall Michael Jackson, and he sang very, very well. And I'm sure that we'll see him someplace later on. Their choir actually came from Little Rock, Arkansas, and was very good. And they also had a marching band from Atlanta. And if you've ever seen a marching band in Atlanta or in the South, they gyrate and move all over the place. And they were doing that in this reception hall. So